screen. Give me 2 seconds. Share that one. Right, make it big. So, what I want to talk about tonight is alcohol and fat loss and how it can impact your progress. Now, this doesn't really matter whether you are in your initial fat loss phase, whether you are in a reverse dieting phase. I think someone's off mute. Sarah, sorry, I'm just going to mute you. Sorry. But yeah, so it doesn't matter. Fat loss, reverse dieting, where you're at in your journey, alcohol is always going to play its part. But before we do, as always, I just want to shout out these incredible women for their achievements and what we've seen this week. So the first one goes to Victoria, who has officially reached £30 fat loss inside the program, which is obviously incredible. So well done, Victoria, because that comes with pure dedication and attacking the cause, which is amazing. But she's not the only one, because Rachel has also, she's on the precipice. I think it was literally like half a bloody pound or something away. So almost exactly at the same point, which again is incredible. And then Jessica, she has got off to a flying start, and there have been things thrown her way that have happened in her personal life, but she's still absolutely attacked this with everything she's got, and almost 6 pounds down within literally a matter of weeks, which is amazing. Pippa, I also wanted to shout out because she's also hit her new lowest weigh-in and still managed all of this while she's been literally had a chest infection, bless her, this last week or so. So she's absolutely crushing it, and a matter of weeks away from her wedding day. So that's a lovely little one in the bag for her as well. So let's dive in then. So alcohol is actually a toxin to our bodies. And that's exactly what our bodies essentially views alcohol as. So it's a foreign substance that our body views as needing to process and try and get rid of immediately. And it's a fast-acting response on behalf of our bodies. It's actually classified as its own macronutrient. So for you ladies inside of the program, you know that we deal with calories in terms of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. They all serve their purposes. Alcohol actually sits in an entirely different category. So it's not a carb, it's not a fat, and it's not a protein. So how does this differ? So obviously, we all know that protein serves a massive purpose, helping you build muscle, helping you feel fuller, helping you recover faster. Fats, enormous for your hormones. Carbohydrates, providing energy. Whereas alcohol is a non-essential. They are basically wasted calories. There is no nutritional value, and obviously it's not required for bodily function. If anything, it probably does the exact opposite. But that's not to say we don't all have a drink from time to time. So I want you to take that into consideration. I'm not a big drinker. I hold my hands up. I'm not somebody that you're likely to see with a glass of wine. Personally, I actually don't really like the taste of alcohol. There are a very minuscule number of drinks that I can stomach the flavor of. And I was raised by a woman who does not touch a single drop of alcohol. So that's just the way we are raised. But it's not to say I've done my fair share of binge drinking. Do you know what I mean? I've been to uni. We definitely got on it. It just doesn't take me as much to get drunk as it probably does the average person. And every now and again, I will enjoy a bit of alcohol. But it's I can't speak. It's too late. It's metabolized differently. That's what I'm trying to say. The body can't store alcohol. So again, it's got to try and get it out of us as quickly as possible. And what happens in response to having alcohol in your system is it's actually pausing the fat burning process while it actually switches function to try and get rid of the alcohol out of your system. So it is a toxin to the body, meaning the body's going to prioritize getting rid of this over and above anything else, and actually potentially slightly derailing us from our goals in that time. So what the liver's going to do is going to liver prioritization. So it's basically going to function, it's basically going to try and get rid of that alcohol first before being able to actually metabolize on your body fat. So it creates this fat loss pause. So while it's in your system, your body essentially will not prioritize burning fat. So even this one's annoying tonight, isn't it? I feel like I can't speak. Hector's speaking too much. Great. But yeah, so what we want to do is obviously minimize the impact. So the body can process about 1 unit of alcohol per hour, but full detoxification can take around 48 to 52 hours, depending on things like how hydrated you are, your metabolism, and your individual tolerance to alcohol. So like I say, mine is exceptionally low. And you will notice this. So you know when you're 18 years old and you feel like you're untouchable when it comes to alcohol, and you can drink until your heart is content and you don't really wake up hungover the next day. You hit your 30s and it's like bang, game changes. You suddenly feel every single drop of alcohol. Well, that's your 48 to 52 hour window coming into impact. And you hear people say it all the time, don't you? That I've now got a 2 day, a 3 day hangover. That's essentially what's going on. Your liver cannot process as quickly as it used to be able to function. So if we have a look in alcohol units in common drinks, so a bottle of wine, nearly. Will you behave, Thomas?
Yeah.
Thomas, can you sort the dogs out for God's sake? He's only just got home, so the dogs are like, they just think it's the most exciting thing in the world. So a bottle of wine is 10 units. That's obviously quite a lot. And the binge drinking threshold in the UK states that 6 units, so essentially call it 2 glasses of wine, that's basically you're already in binge drinking category, which, let's be honest, that's not a lot, is it? I'm sure you can all think of several times where you might have had 2 glasses of wine, and that's what the UK government is counting as binge drinking. So it's just food for thought, but this is the number of hours roughly just to do that initial detoxification process, and then you're going to get the side effects of that lasting for the next 2 or 3 days as we obviously get older. But regardless of whether you drink 1 glass of wine or 6 shots of vodka, your body is still treating this as a toxin, and it's always going to prioritize getting rid of it over and above everything else. So even your digestion is going to slow down. Your muscle recovery is going to slow down. And so is your fat burning. I feel like we're still in the brain fog era over here. But it can roughly process 1 unit of alcohol per hour. But again, this is going to vary, and that's the initial phase. Until alcohol is fully metabolized, fat oxidation is significantly reduced by up to 73%. So if your main goal is to drop body fat and you're choosing to have alcohol regularly, then you are potentially stalling your progress by 73% for those few days that the alcohol is still in your system. That's quite a stark fact. It's quite significant when you think about it like that. And if you binge drink, naturally, the more you drink, the worse it's going to be. So the more alcohol your liver has actually got to process, it means that you're stalling your potential fat loss results, your muscle recovery, and your digestion for even longer. So that's where we just need to take into consideration. So, how is alcohol actually metabolized? So, the alcohol enters the bloodstream within minutes of consumption. So, this is where when people go too crazy and they end up in A&E, like one of the last resorts is actually a blood transfusion, because they've put so much alcohol into their system, they've actually got to have their bloods done in order to be able to strip them to get them back to where their human like body can actually function, because the liver, and if obviously you hear it with alcoholism all the time, where the liver will start to break down and it actually can't behave, it can't do its job any further. So we obviously do not want that. But it's converting alcohol into acetaldehyde, which is a toxic, and that's broken down into acetate, which is then used for energy. And while this is happening, like I say, fat burning stops because the liver's too busy doing another job. So unlike carbs, fats, and protein, it's not stored in the body. It's got to be eliminated first, which again is going to have that impact on fat storage. So the other thing is, so alcohol has calories in it naturally. So there's around 7 calories for every 1 gram of alcohol that you're going to consume, but it's not stored. So excess calories from food eaten with alcohol are more likely to be stored as fat. So you've got to think as your body has stopped actually trying to break down the fat, if you're having alcohol and then consuming food at the same time, that food is more likely to be stored as fat, and your calories burning are likely to dramatically slow down by that 74%, like we said. So, again, it's just another consideration if you're eating and you're drinking. And you're not seeing the scales drop. So let's say you're drinking consistently every weekend. And we have unfortunately had women inside of the program who they love going out at the weekends every single weekend, and they just couldn't get their head around the fact that the scales were not moving despite the fact they were on a binge every single weekend. And it's like, even if you're trying to stay in a calorie deficit, you're making it significantly harder. The hormonal disruption, so alcohol affects insulin sensitivity and it increases cortisol, which is your stress hormone, which again, same reason why we don't want to train on an empty stomach, because we don't really want to elevate. Some cortisol's good, but we don't want to elevate it because again, it's going to store fat, most commonly around the stomach area. Perimenopausal and menopausal women who consume alcohol regularly tend to gain more visceral fat, which is your deep belly fat, so that's held around the abdomen, compared to those in same kind of situation as perimenopause, menopause, who actually drink less or avoid alcohol altogether. So again, if you're in that phase of your life, it's just something to consider. So the 48-hour to 52-hour window, so why does it impact for so long? And again, it is just this delayed fat process. The dehydration effect, so alcohol is a diuretic, which means it's, oh my God. Again, affecting your digestion, your ability to absorb nutrients, and your metabolism. So if you are going to drink, you've got to make sure you stay hydrated, because it is absolutely taking your body to its nth degree to try and work on all of these different things. And sleep quality, another one. So again, if you are perimenopausal, menopausal, or a very light sleeper, alcohol's, it's just going to spike that. So it's going to increase those hunger hormones, the cravings, the stress, all of the things we don't want to be doing. It's counteracting. So it can suppress it for up to 2 days while the liver is working to clear it from your body. So anyone noticed when you have alcohol that you have an increase in appetite? Let's be honest, you go out on a Friday, a Saturday night, and then you end up in a McDonald's, in a takeaway afterwards. It's because alcohol is directly increasing your hunger and your craving. So this is scientifically proven. So again, it's really hard to stay in that deficit. Even if you are having the alcohol, it's likely to push you to want to make different decisions than if you didn't have the alcohol in the first place. So what it's doing is inhibiting leptin, which is the satiety hormone, which is basically the feeling of being satisfied. So when we're full, which is why we try and have a high protein diet, because it's got far higher satiety qualities, as soon as we drink alcohol, we start to feel like we're not full. It's starting to spike our brain into saying you've got to eat. It's also increasing the hunger hormone. So you are going to crave more food organically, and it's also lowering your sugar spike cravings. It's lowering your blood sugar. So again, it's going to lead you to make those really quick decisions, that fast food, that convenient food, and you're going to make different choices. So when you are craving greasy, high fat foods after a night of drinking, that's because it is impacting your blood sugar levels, and it's tricking your brain into craving those really high, easily accessible and high calorie foods, essentially. So that's where, again, we just want to be mindful of that. So alcohol is also going to impact your workout. So if you go on a bit of a heavy sesh and then you try and train, then you're going to notice that it's reducing your protein synthesis. So it means that actually you're going to have slow muscle repair, and you're also going to have slower recovery as a result of having that alcohol in your system. And as we know, it can be there for around 3 days. So that again is something to be mindful of, that even if you have a drink on a Friday night and you're going to train on a Monday, you might find that you're not feeling your workouts as much, and it's taking you a lot longer to actually get back up to full health. It will increase your muscle soreness, and again, that's your dehydration and your poor nutrient absorption. So if you ever got so drunk that your skin hurts, I've definitely done that, where it's a really weird feeling where your skin to touch. So if I actually do get a hangover, I feel it in my skin as like an immediate thing. And it is that it's your muscles being really, really sore. And I can feel weirdly like every fiber of my being. And if somebody touches me, it feels like it hurts. That's also what it's doing. It's lowering the testosterone, which we obviously do have a small amount of as women, raising that cortisol, which again is hindering that muscle growth, not what we want to be doing. So, a tip, if you are serious about fitness, reducing alcohol intake will enhance your recovery, strength gains, and your fat loss as well. So, everything in moderation, guys. So if you are going to have a drink, which again, I'm all about balance in this world. I think this is more if you're doing it all of the time. It's just something where you actually want to be looking at that as a habit in itself. Are you coming home drinking because you're stressed? And we did that during lockdown, by the way. A lot of you guys, when I've spoken to you on the phone when you were coming into the program, we got really stressed during lockdown. We didn't really have anything to do. And Thomas's dad got super poorly. We couldn't obviously see him. We didn't know the outcome. And we were like sharing a bottle of wine every single night, or having a bottle of beer every single night. And it was just a stress release. And we decided that can't carry on, and we had to do something about it. So if you can identify the trigger, if you are drinking too often, then that's just something that you need to figure out. Is it stress? Is it boredom? Is it habit? Is it lifestyle? Are you surrounded by people who at the age of 30 all want to go out on the piss all the time? Are you in that social circle where you're making a habit out of it, where actually it could be hindering your progress? So try and set yourself a limit, 1 or 2 drinks if you're choosing to drink. I always say this, but every single time you have an alcoholic drink, have a water chaser either before or after. So you want to make sure that you are replenishing and staying hydrated, even if you do make the decision to have some alcohol. Eat before drinking. So choose a high protein, nutrient dense meal. So again, you don't want to be going out or having drinks on an empty stomach, because it's just going to exasperate the entire process. Avoid sugary mixes, so trying to stick to clear spirits. So clear spirits are the lowest calorie options there are with low calorie mixes. So we're talking, we've got a list here like your vodka, soda, and lime. We've got gin and tonic, things like that are also great options. Anything like with a diet or a Coke Zero, like zero sugar drinks, anything like that mixed with a clear spirit is always going to be lower in calories. So your red wines are obviously about 125 calories a glass. Light beer, worst options you can have are cocktails. 9 times out of 10, there's very fucking little alcohol in them anyway, and it's just the design of them that makes you buy into it. And they're often on a deal, aren't they? Where it's like buy 2 cocktails or whatever for the price of. And again, it's full of juice, it's full of sugar, it's full of crap. And then there's a bit of alcohol mixed in there for good measure. So generally speaking, you are going to end up with a lot more calories when you go for a cocktail than if you go for a clear spirit. So just take that into consideration. And planning your workout so that you're not doing them hungover, probably also a better idea. So the key lessons, so alcohol is going to delay your fat burning. It is going to pause while your liver is actually trying to get rid of the alcohol from inside of your system. The rest of your body is just going to stop doing its job while it processes on that primary function. It is going to increase your fat storage and cravings. So when you have alcohol, you're more likely to want to make different decisions in terms of your nutrition. Slows down your muscle recovery and impacts your hormones. And if fat loss is the goal, drinking will definitely not accelerate that. So we want to make sure that you're actually in line with your goals. And again, everything in moderation. I'm not saying you can't achieve great fat loss and still have the odd drink here and there, but you just want to make sure that you're not falling into that binge category. And if you are having a lot of alcohol, looking into why you're making those choices, and could you actually choose something slightly less calories if you actually have the option. So it's just a consideration for you ladies. So does anybody have any questions? We rattled through that because I'm aware that my dogs were being idiots. Does anybody have... Oh, where's the chat gone? The chat has gone. Hang on, let's have a look. Oh, well done, ladies. Lots of well dones for everybody. Is it true? I don't know who's asked this question. Just say Zoom user. Is it true that it's easier, quicker for the body to get rid of clear spirits than any other alcohol? I think that's a myth. I think the reality is clear spirits are just lower in calories. I will look into that because I've not heard that before, but the way that my understanding is, it's all down to the units and how the units are actually, because I can't imagine it takes longer for it to digest whiskey, for instance, over vodka. And I think it's more down to the units of alcohol rather than, and the decisions you make around the alcohol, how hydrated you are, all of these different things that are going to take longer. But I think that I would put that one down as a myth. And it is just going to come down to the individual as how quickly your liver can actually function. And we obviously want it to be able to work as well as it possibly can because we need our liver. It feels illegal to go out and end the night and not end the night with cheesy chips. Luckily, I hardly ever drink. I agree. This is it. And you are right. And we're all going to have times where we go out for birthdays or celebrations or on holiday. That's another time where you probably, like, if you've got access to an all inclusive, all you can eat, all you can drink, their alcohol's vile. That's some of the worst. Ugh. Where it's all included, I'm like, ugh, it's vile. You can just tell it's cheap. And where they give you those weird cocktails and they all taste the same and you think, nice. But yeah, this is it. It's making you make different choices because of the alcohol. Your brain is actively firing to go, yeah, we want those cheesy chips. Yeah, we're going to make that decision. And that's exactly what's happening. It's always going to go out of favor. Used to feel like I had the flu after having alcohol. Hardly ever drink now as I don't want a 4-day hangover. Exactly. I'm exactly in that boat. I definitely don't like how alcohol makes me feel. So it's one of those, and I don't really like the taste of it either. I will happily be a designated driver on my very rare and infrequent times where I might be surrounded by it. Great non-alcoholic gins out there. You can't tell the difference other than you don't get tipsy. And this is it. If you love the flavor, then that's definitely something that you can consider. And there's some quite big pushes in that direction at the moment. I think unfortunately a lot of people do like the feeling, don't they, of being tipsy. I'm a control freak. Again, doesn't sit easily with me to lose control, but if you like it and you're quite happy to drink non-alcoholic. My mum does do that as well. So if we all share a glass of Prosecco or champagne, she will just have one that's the non-alcohol. And then I always end up on that because it tastes way better. Way better. I've got the Tanqueray 0% gin and it's great, super low calorie too. This is it. It's just about looking into it. But see if it's worth the calories in itself, because I don't know the calories in some of the non-alcoholic drinks, but again, like Kat and I always say this, we far rather eat our calories than drink them. But if you really want to have something, have it. Just, I'm always about make a decision with conscious effort. So whatever you're deciding, make your choice and be good with your choice. So if you do choose to get drunk, then expect the hangover the next couple of days and just assume that you hope it was worth it. Because sometimes you can have great nights. They do exist, don't they? Where everyone's in great spirits and it's a good fun night and you don't regret the hangover. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you think that was a shit night and I don't know why I bothered. But just make your decision and be okay with whatever you decide, because we can't reverse time. So you've got to make your choice, stick with it, and then we're good. That's literally how we roll. So does anybody else have anything else they want to share or anything they want to ask? Not even to do with the Zoom, any programs, any questions, anything you're struggling with at all, ladies, while you've got me. No, we're all happy and smiling, I think.
I will, Ash.
Oh, yeah, go on,
Sorry.
Vic.
I've started my new workout plan today,
Yeah,
and I'm doing the kneeling military press things.
yeah.
And it says six on each side. Does that mean I like kneel with one knee and do six, and then kneel with the other knee and do six? Or
Yeah, do that. Yeah,
that's what I did. Just
yeah,
I
yeah, that's
thought I'd
it. You
better
are
do
right.
more than less, but
Yeah. No, you are right. That's absolutely it. Yeah, do exactly as you've done one side and then the other side because when we're weighted on one side, we just want to make sure we're balancing out the muscles. So you've done it right there. Yeah.
perfect. Thanks.
Good question. Does anybody else have anything else? No, I think we're all good. Thumbs up if we're all good. Right, ladies, I will love you and leave you then and see some of you on check-in and yeah, communicate throughout the week. But well done. Check-ins we're very happy on Friday, and obviously Kat and I spoke about them today and very happy with everybody at this point in time. So keep fucking crushing it, girls, and yeah, we'll catch up throughout the week. Bye.
Thanks, bye.